For some strange reason, in the mental performance industry, there's this disdain to put out content on social media. And I've heard people tell me directly that they don't want to be conflated with some kind of influencer. Now, first and foremost, influencer is a term, semantics. What does that truly mean? Now, I get what they mean when they say a person who's probably shilling for companies, pushing products. Yeah, we don't want to be that. But in the sense of influencers as science, and our community trying to push what we're doing to the world, I think there should be more of that. Let's look at the first ever science influencer, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Now, I'm 36, so if you're plus or minus 15 years of that, you probably know who this is, and you probably grew up watching him. He's a perfect example. And even to this day, he has a YouTube presence. He has an Instagram presence. So what is the problem? Is it that you're caught up on being an influencer, or maybe you're just kind of intimidated or even scared to put yourself out there on social media because some people see it as a daunting or tedious task, which it can be. I admit that. I'm very active. I'm putting out thousands of posts, tens of thousands to be exact. So it's a lot of work, and I edit all my own stuff. So a lot goes into it outside of doing what you're doing day to day, because I still have a business and a practice to run, and I have employees. So it's a lot, but that's no excuse not to do it. Like I always say, we're in the industry of helping people perform better, get over mental blocks. And what do we need to tell our athletes or our clients not to do something simply because it's hard or it's difficult or it might be some inconveniences? We wouldn't. So we wouldn't do the same thing when it comes to our business or our brand. Now, the first part you might want to talk about is the fact that people are caught up in, is it going to come off as just spewing out nonsense? Now, that comes down to you. The first problem with that is, do you know your stuff? Now, if you do, it shouldn't be an issue, right? Now, a lot of times in the influencing world, there's people who have no background in our field, but they're giving mental health or mental performance advice, talking about motivation, anxiety, things of that nature, but they're not qualified. So who better to say it than us? So that's why I take a pride on myself to be the one putting out there, because if anyone's going to give the information, it should be someone who's qualified to do so. So you're doing a disservice. Now, when it comes to brand and actual business, that's another reason people shy away, because they don't want to seem like, oh, I'm not here to just be pushing services or trying to get sales or marketing. Why not? I don't get that issue. Now, it can come off disingenuous if you're straight up saying, hey, here's my services, here's my prices, buy it for this price. Yeah, that might not be good. But my model is you give them information, and after getting that information, you build something we call trust. And once they trust you, it's easier for them to say, hey, I've listened for this guy for 4 months. He's given me great advice. It's worked for me. And I've gotten better in my sport or in my job or whatever it may be. Guess what? You put out a course or a workshop for $9.99, whatever the price is, you're in there. And that's how it works. It's more so content marketing versus just straight up saying, buy this service. Now, a lot of people understand this because they see social media simply as something that you put out there and hopefully people interact. No, it's just like anything else. You have to build that rapport. Now, the difference is it's parasocial. So these people don't know you. People watching this don't know me. More than likely, you've never met me. And if you have, nice to meet you. But the point is, most people are going to only invest in what you give them. And if you're not giving them anything, how can they build upon this? Now, look at it like this. Reach. This is something used in social media terms, referring to how far of an audience does your content get to. A lot of people look at likes and views, but this is only a minor part of it, because likes show that, okay, someone engaged in it, which is definitely valuable to the algorithm, and views show that someone watched it. But reach means how many people or accounts did this actually get to? Now, if your reach goes beyond just your general friends because you post frequently, the algorithm is going to push it more and more and more. So you're reaching audience that would never have seen your page before. And this is a good thing, because not only are you going to get more views, but now there's people that would never know who you are or known about this industry that's now going to learn something new. Now, I see a lot of times in our mental performance industry that people look at when an accolade is made by a famous athlete and they talk about it, it goes viral. It goes insane. Talk about tens, maybe even 100 millions of views. That's great. But after a few weeks, it dissipates and it goes away. And that's a problem, because that shouldn't be the only time people are hearing about this. That's why I kind of say there's a survivorship bias, because almost every time an athlete says what they did, visualization or self-talk to get through a performance, and they win a championship or a game, people say, oh, this is definitely what's working. But guess what? That happens few and far between. What about us, the ones who are using it every day, working with our clients, working with our populations? The more we say it, the more commonplace it becomes. And that's the only way for the industry to grow beyond just the people in it, is to make it more commonplace. We need to talk about this, how people talk about fitness. The fitness industry about 30, 40 years ago wasn't as talked about. But guess what? Even the most average everyday Joe does some type of workout because it's now a common thing. And I see this being where the mental performance industry is going out in the next maybe decade, and hopefully we can get there. But it comes down to us talking more about this. Now, a question I'm going to ask you directly is, how much followers do you have? Now, when you think about that, don't think that there's a high number, a low number. Whatever you have is fine. Because at the end of the day, when you get to a certain point, it's not even about how much people follow you. It's about who's engaging. So remember, I talked about likes and views. This is where it comes down to who's actually watching and caring what you put out. Because let's say someone goes viral, they get millions of followers. More than likely, out of those millions, 10% of them actually care about what you're posting. That's the only people who are going to engage, like, and comment. So if you have 20,000 followers and half of them are engaging, that's better than having 1 million followers, only 1% are engaging. Yeah, the numbers might be more, but it's a low ratio compared to what's actually being put out. Now, this is why I talk about people being consistent, because whatever it is, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever your platform you choose, or all the above, they reward consistency. Some are better than others. Like YouTube, they love it when you're consistent. Instagram, you want to be consistent too, but some social media platforms don't have to be as frequent as you post. But either way you look at it, you have to be putting something out there, because a lot of times your social media page becomes your digital business card. They'll come to your page, they'll look through your posts. If you got 4 of them, 5 of them, or 1,000 of them, they're going through them and they're saying, hey, this person must be an official. Now, it doesn't mean that you know everything. There's people with PhDs who have 0 posts. There's people who barely know what they're talking about, who have 1,000 posts and have a bunch of followers. That's not what I'm going to get into. But you want to see it as, if I come to your page as a consumer, someone who wants to learn more about this, if I only see 2 things, you're depriving me. You're kind of hoarding information, and it kind of comes off as selfish. Not saying that you're purposely doing something wrong, but why would you keep the information to yourself? We know it because we're practitioners. But the everyday person isn't learning these things. So we got to make it our duty to get it to them. So social media as a whole should not be about, am I putting out enough content? Am I staying on focus with it? It's more so, can I display my expertise, my personality? Because they need to know who you are. That's the other aspect of it, because not everyone's going to come off the same way. Some people, their style is to just give the information, be straightforward with it, and that's it. Some people like to dress up in some trends. Some people be more educational, entertainment. It's up to you how you present your information. But if you're not putting it out, how do they know if you exist, and how do they know that you're qualified? Yes, your degrees, your resume, all that speaks to that. But the average person does not care about that. I hate to be that person. With this Industry Pathology series is meant to bring light to these things. In the echo chamber that we live in, yes, it's great that you have a CMPC or a PhD or MS, but the average person does not ask these questions. They want to know, what are you doing and who you have done it with? And that's another aspect of social media. It shows that visibility of what have you done and who have you done it with, so they know, oh, if it's worked with this population, maybe it could work for me. People love to see it. We're very visual when it comes to buying into something physically, literally, and monetarily, because if we don't know if someone else is doing it, we want that social proof. Without that social proof, why would I give you any money or give you my time or buy into what you're doing? So that's another aspect of it. So don't get so caught up in, oh, I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm not trying to come off as someone's pushing something, because that's kind of pride and ego getting in the way. It's 2025, and this is a major part of our everyday life. And more than likely, you have a social media platform to some degree, whether it be personal or business. So why would you not do your expertise with it? That's something I do not understand. So if you're up and coming in this field, the time is now. And if you've already been in this field, give the world what you've learned. I've been in this field for over a decade, and I want to keep giving out information, because who does it hurt? If I spend this time watching Netflix or doing something else, no, I'd rather give it to you guys. So there's no excuse. You need to put out some content and do it consistently. Now, I can make another video specifically on what type of channels, such as YouTube, Instagram, and how the different algorithms work, but won't get into it right now. So I'm calling this diagnosis digital dissociation disorder. How about that for alliteration? So simply put, you're pushing yourself away from the thing that's the main medium of how we interact with each other for the last 20 years. Why would you not do that? Why would you limit yourself? So don't dissociate. Lean into it. Make a brand. Figure out how you best convey information, because it's not going to be as straightforward as giving a presentation at a workshop or doing something when you were in class or something with your client. You might have to come up with something completely out the box that you haven't done before to really convey your presence. So whatever it is, you need to make sure you do that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great rest of your week. And that's my pathology.